You know, I've been trying to just kind of wrestle with exactly how to do this. My mind is kind of going in circles because there's an investigative side of me that wants to really hunt down a lot of things. There's a really angry side of me that's really pissed off at the behavior at a lot of different people in the wake of this whole Nevada thing. And there's a part of me that really feels the need to do something, right? Now, first and foremost, I'm going to handle the angry side of the house because I'm just going to get it out of the way. There is a lot of really terrible people in the world. There's a lot of really evil human beings that cannot see how fucked up something like this is and just shut the fuck up for a minute. You know, not even a whole 12 hours after this thing went down. You know, you had people calling for gun control and stuff like that. And then you have the most corrupt politician I've ever seen talking about, well, what if he had a suppressor? Imagine the number of people he would have killed then. That's infuriating on so many levels. Because number one, suppressors don't turn guns into movie guns, okay? First of all, suppressors are only good at dealing with one sound. And when you fire a shot and shove a supersonic piece of metal out of a tube, okay, it makes two different sounds. The first one's the actual report on a rifle, okay, the booming sound. And then you have the supersonic crack after that. So realistically speaking, everybody there would have still heard that they were getting shot at. Okay, number one. Number two, it was an extraordinarily crowded place, filled to the brim with people, and there's no way that this wasn't going to be horrendous. Okay, suppressor or not. And then she sits there and tries to bash the NRA, thinking that she's just going to get away with it. Seriously, fuck you. Seriously, fuck you. Like, anyone who's attached to the left has always done shit like this. Where the second something absolutely tragic and horrible happens, they decide that they're going to use that to push policy because heartstrings are what they work on and not facts. Okay? There are some friggin' idiots on the right. There really are. There are some people I'll never agree with on the right. But I never see that shit happening from them. Okay? I never see a response like that isn't appropriate. And even worse, an fucking ultra cunt on CNN decided to say the only reason why Trump is visiting Nevada is because everyone that was shot was a Trump supporter. First of all, you don't fucking know that. Second, okay, Trump has been everywhere that there was a fucking disaster. He was either there or on the way. And yes, I count this as a friggin' disaster because more people were killed in this event than in the fucking hurricanes, and he still went out there. Okay? Additionally, look, I was one of many people that said, look, he was better than Hillary in all honesty, but I foresee him not doing anything of any real value. Okay? And honestly, I'm pretty glad to say, in all honesty, that I was pretty wrong about that. He improved our international relations, put NATO in its friggin' place, okay, by letting them know what the fuck was up, and that we weren't going to be bullied into a financial debacle. The economy is improving under him. And every disaster that we've had, he responded with overwhelming force. Okay? On top of that, He put Puerto Rico in their place and essentially told them we're handling domestic issues first. Even though Puerto Rico did have aid from us, well over 4,000 service members there, and actual naval ships that are helping out with the relief effort. They're pissed off at the amount of relief that they're getting, even though they're a U.S. territory and not a state. Like, the man has actually done some pretty presidential things. I don't agree with all of it, but the man has actually been doing pretty well, especially considering the amount of opposition that he's getting. So, to suggest that the only reason that this man is going to the site of a mass murder was because the people there were likely Trump supporters is absolutely fucked up. And I really don't care if I'm cussing a lot in this video. Really, because if you're going to have an issue with me cussing in this video, click away from it, unsubscribe. If you're a friggin' Patreon donor, go away. I don't care. Okay? Because there's no need for shit like that. Next thing is how utterly fucked up that the media is pursuing this. The media is pursuing this as nothing short of a man that just went nuts with zero belief systems. He was just a guy and a gambler and all of that stuff, right? Look it, okay? I'm not saying that one causes the other, but I'm saying that it's pretty fucking suspect that the dude was the guy who actually shot these people in Nevada. The dude was a registered Democrat, was surrounded by extreme left-leaning people. His girlfriend, or whatever the fuck you want to call it, normally travels with him everywhere and fled the country right before this happened. The dude wired nearly $100,000 to the Philippines, where she's originally from and where she went to. Suspect. Okay? And look I'm not saying that these are 100% connected yet either. Okay? But how is it that in under 12 hours you can say that he wasn't, the mainstream media will sit there and say that he wasn't affiliated with ISIS, when it has taken over a year for you to conclude that the president didn't have any collusion from the Russians for the election? Number one. Number two, I would really like to know why the word Antifa hasn't come up. Because right after the shooting started, it was taken down on Facebook immediately, but they expressed their support for this guy, calling him one of their comrades and saying, you know, we warned you, #revolution, before it was taken down by Facebook, rightfully so. Like, the dude is surrounded by left-leaning people, extremely left-leaning people, like to the actual degree of extreme. You know, people that are 110% okay with killing people for their ideologies. And nobody brought that up one time. Nobody brought up the belief systems that people all around him were engaged in. Whereas I guarantee that if this dude was affiliated with the Tea Party, in the most ambiguous sense, it would have been brought up, and he would have been instantly pushed out as one of these friggin' people. Are you telling me that right now is the only time ever in well over a decade that the mainstream media is reporting honestly? I doubt that. Okay. Now, as far as there being more than one shooter and stuff, I've listened and watched the footage, and it to me sounds like there's one guy. Like the rumors running around about multiple shooters. It looks like it was just one guy, because if you're used to hearing automatic fire in any real sense of the word, sound does sound like that, if that makes any sense. Like the difference between the report of the shit he was firing and the supersonic cracks coming in. The difference between the sound does sound like it's one gun, because you do have to listen for more than one sound, not just a single string of sounds, right? Because what's going to happen is that you're going to hear the arrival of the rounds, and that's all the snaps and stuff, and then you can hear the reports, like the actual gunshots and stuff, the sub-explosions from whatever he was shooting. Okay, so it sounded like those were consistent to one, right? And that's fine, whatever. I mean, there's also a lot of people that are sitting there and saying alternate things. I'm 110% certain that this dude killed himself, because that's how people like this operate. But the way that things are going, right, and the string of ever elevating violence from groups like Antifa and BAM and shit like that, it really wouldn't surprise me in the least. It wouldn't surprise me in the least. You know, if this was an ISIS thing, it wouldn't surprise me in the least. But what makes me lean more towards, domestic terrorist organizations is how fast left-leaning media went out and tried to cover up every aspect of this dude's social life. And even more so, how left-leaning people, if this wasn't politically driven in any sense of the word, I cannot see why that CNN person talking about Trump going to Vegas isn't fired. We know that this will not be reported accurately. And we also know that our own individual safety and liberty will come under attack because of this whole thing. But before I start talking in circles, the big thing that I really want to say on this whole thing is this. Calm down. Seriously, calm down. You guys just saw in this video how fucking irritated and angry I am over the whole thing is. Right? And this will likely spur some pretty serious bullshit completely unconnected with the crimes that this guy committed. Because again, murder is illegal. So more laws on small arms isn't going to stop criminals. It's only going to damage people from being able to defend themselves. And we know that we're going to have to deal with this again. But seriously, calm down. I'm not even kidding. Calm down. Let's cool off. Let's wait until these people are in the earth. Right? Let's at least do that. Let's wait until these people are in the earth before we start to shout down the incredibly irrational, reactionary bullshit that we're going to have to deal with. And when it starts to come out that this dude's whole social media experience was nothing but extreme leftist, and I am 110% certain that that's going to happen, we can deal with it then. But right now, we need to let those families grieve. Right now, we need to just back the fuck off. Let incredibly evil people be stupid. Because in all honesty, if your first thing is to push a political agenda, when you first hear about this whole thing, you're an evil son of a bitch. Okay? And Hillary, you are a cunt. Sorry. You are a cunt. But, be that as it may, I know that a lot of us are fucking angry. I know that a lot of us are so incredibly tired of this repeat system of bullshit that comes around every time that someone believing in the same ideology that's coming after our individual liberties is used against us for political gain, that the first thing that you want to do is get as pissed off as possible. We cannot do that. We have got to chill. We have got to at least allow for a period of grief before we do anything else. Okay? And if you want my real opinion on what it is that you should do, because there's a lot of us that feel like we have to do something, but we can't, right? Look at, go give blood. I'm serious, go give blood. Donate in whatever way that you can to the Red Cross, because they've always been on top of their shit with this kind of stuff, man. Like, go give blood. Donate what you can, where you can. Help people out when the GoFundMe start up because of the funerals and all that, and throw them a little bit of something. And remember that, look at the times and the climate in this country are getting far more violent than they ever have been. And it's because a political ideology is dying. And this particular political ideology gets extraordinarily violent when they don't get what they want. I don't foresee things like Trump losing the second election. So it'll get worse. And it takes a generation to grow up a movement of people that aren't into this shit. So, realistically speaking, you gotta do what you gotta do to protect you and yours, right? Sign up for that defense class that you've been on the fence for, okay? And look, I understand. I run a company. I give zero fucks if you come to me or anybody that's competing with me or even people that I disagree with. Do something, okay? Do something. Go to one of those classes. Stay sharp mentally, physically, and with your motor skills, because I'm telling you, this is worse than it was, and it will continue to go in that direction. Times have never been more violent for the law-abiding in the United States. So you need to be able to do what you need to do to protect you and yours. Right? You must read on how to deal with disasters like this. You must go to classes and read about dealing with active shooters. You must get medical training. It's not just about the gun guy stuff, even though that's easier to deal with. All the other stuff is more mental intensive. But you must have all these things. I'm serious. And that's the only thing that we can really do, is be vigilant. Be vigilant. Stop people from being irrational, realistically speaking. Tell them just calm down and look at all the facts. Wait until more of them come in. Do what you gotta do. So that's really all I have for this entire thing. I mean, I'm sure that more details will be coming and more videos will come out. But I figured I'd just kind of take a brief break from all of the gun guy stuff that I've been doing to address this. A lot of people have asked me for my take on it and all that. And I understand that I'm starting to, talk in circles, but that's all I got, really. If you're a religious type, pray for the families and individuals that were affected by this. Acknowledge the extraordinary heroism of some of the people that were there. And for those of you that are not religious and are looking for a way to help, there's easy ways to get into that. I already outlined a few. I'm personally not religious in any capacity, but I'm going to be looking to help in any way that I can. So we need to come together on this. Even though, I understand tensions are high and people are pissed off, but we need to come together on this, and we need to do some good. So, take it easy, guys.